What's going on, guys? It's your boy Shady Mike Gaming, and today I'm dropping a slider set that is going to change the way you play NBA 2K25. Welcome to the release of my NBA 2K25 Shady Hours slider set. In this video, I'll give you a quick rundown of the incredible gameplay improvements you can expect when using this slider set. This slider set comes complete with roster, badge, and tendency edits, along with gameplay sliders and MyNBA sliders, all of which are on 2K Share under hashtag Shady. If you find this video helpful, drop a like, and if you're an offline player like me who loves simulation content for games like Madden, 2K, and college football, consider subscribing so you don't miss future updates. So you may ask, what differentiates this slider set from the others that are out there? The secret lies in the goal. My aim isn't to create the perfect game of NBA 2K, it's to perfectly replicate the NBA experience. And in today's league, one thing stands out. The three-point shot reigns supreme. The first and biggest change this slider set will bring is CPU three-point shot selection. The CPU will take more three-pointers in more realistic situations, both in transition and in the half court, mirroring real NBA trends. This slider set also comes with a completely revamped shot contest system where the highest level of contest that can be achieved is heavily limited. For years now, I have argued against 2K basketball gifting free contests to defenders that don't deserve them. And to this day, my philosophy remains: the presence of a defender does not equate to good defense. With these sliders, you'll find it easier to create off the dribble and hit contested shots, but so will the CPU. Defense now demands skill and positioning, just like real NBA basketball, and sometimes that's still not enough. Now, I have had users that have used these sliders in the past and expressed displeasure with this because they feel hopeless and helpless on defense. And all I can say to that is, welcome to the NBA and welcome to NBA defense. I'm sure anyone who's ever tried to defend Kevin Durant or Nikola Jokic one-on-one felt the same exact way. So when it comes to the three-point shot selection and the three-point volume, if you don't like it, complain to Adam Silver, not me. With this slider set, I put a lot of effort into fixing ridiculous legacy issues as well. In previous years, we've all witnessed the CPU taking unrealistic close or mid-range jump shots that just didn't feel authentic. Sadly, this issue does rear its head in NBA 2K25 as well. To address this, I've adjusted the tendencies so that now when the CPU finds itself in those situations, it prioritizes moving the ball and making the smart, realistic basketball play. Another major issue I sought to address was the ridiculous amount of contact on perimeter defense and drives. This is not 2002. Good defense is played by defensive rotations and moving your feet. not by shoving a ball handler to stop them from getting to the rim. You will notice a much smoother gameplay experience when attacking the basket and running in transition. So we've talked about shot creation, bumping, and contact, but I'd argue the biggest point of emphasis for this slider set was bringing the fast break back. For years now, 2K has neglected the fast break and subjected us to slow, unathletic gameplay. I worked hard to achieve a realistic speed differential so that when you do get the ball in the open court, you're not constantly getting run down from behind by CPU-controlled defenders. Now for some housekeeping and how to install these sliders into your game. Again, everything is on 2K Share, but I'd like to walk you through my settings anyway. Although many of the options in this slider set come down to personal preference, achieving the tested results I've designed require two key settings, and that's number one, using real shooting percentage for a more authentic gameplay feel, and number two, playing with my roster or your own custom roster that includes the same edits. On my roster, every player is limited to 9 badges. And I shouldn't even say limited. Rather, every player, regardless of skill set, has these 9 badges, even though it's at different degrees and levels, of course. This shift places greater emphasis on player attributes rather than relying on the overpowered badge boosts you'll find in the default 2K roster. Alright, so now I would like to walk you all through how to set up your defensive settings for better rotations and ultimately better defense that work really well with this slider set. These settings impact everything. They're critical. You have to do this before every single game, so I'll make sure to walk you all through it. So as soon as the game starts, obviously you can see it's 12 minutes on the clock. It hasn't started yet. You just want to pause the game. You're going to want to go into defensive settings, and we're going to go in and we're going to set all of the settings up for our defense and the CPU defense. So for our on and off ball pressure, we're going to do moderate, and then we are going to do tight. Next, we're going to set our hedge settings. We're going to set a hard hedge, and then we're going to flip back over to our on-ball screens, and we're going to do on-ball rotate. I find that this gives us the most realistic defense that resembles an NBA defense, high rotation, switching a lot, so that works really well. I leave stay attached at automatic. I don't touch off-ball screens. That is personal preference if you want to make them switch and do stuff like that, but a lot of times I find it's inconsistent. It doesn't work for me, so I leave that at default. For the post game, that's also personal preference, but I like putting that at 3/4 top. Double teams, obviously that's going to be personal preference based on your matchups, but I'll show that in a little bit later. These are default, and next we're going to go over to our help defense. So for screen help, it's going to be help and no rotation, and for drive help, it's going to be help and no rotation. However, one thing that's new for cutter help, it's actually going to be no help, and I've found that this setting, specifically when you're playing off-ball user defense, causes a lot of issues and bugs with the CPU AI controlled defenders, so that's why I have that at no help. Everything else that I have is going to be on automatic. Now, the next section that we're going to edit is going to be our offensive settings. And here what we're going to want to do is we want to change our rebounds and we want to change our tempo for both the user and the CPU. However, when you come in, you will notice that it is disabled. So what you need to do is you have to come over to coach settings, press A or X depending on your platform, switch this over to offense only, and then you'll notice you can now edit the rebounds and the tempo. And when you make this change for rebounds, you're going to put it at crash offensive boards, and tempo, you're going to put it to shoot at will. When you make this change, it's going to change for both your team and the other team. However, sometimes, and I don't know why or what causes this to happen, you still can't change this even after you come up and have changed the ace settings. So sometimes it just doesn't work and it remains grayed out. If that does happen, you need to switch teams and go to the CPU side and do it over there. But for the most part, and for this video demonstration, it did work. So once you've done that, you can come back to coach settings, turn our ace off. Again, I don't use ace personally. I do prefer the ace substitution method. It can get a little bit wonky sometimes, I'm not gonna lie. So if you prefer rotation over it, I don't think it makes a huge difference, but I have been using ace as of late. I have freelance series at dynamic and freelance series repeat at do not repeat. So once that is set, you want to back out again, and next we're going to go down to coaching sliders. For our help defense, that's going to be at 75. It's already there. This is the user. And for run plays, we're going to move this up to 100. Now everything else, zone usage, bench depth, bench utilization, that is all personal preference. So now we're going to just switch teams, and we're going to do the exact same thing for the CPU. We're going to go back to game plan, go into defensive settings, and we're going to do moderate, tight, our hard hedge, on ball rotate for both. I like 3/4 top for the post. Then we set our help defense, and then down here is no help. We're going to go over to offensive settings, and you'll notice this, the rebounds and the tempo should already be changed. So you don't have to do anything with that. But again, if you did have trouble changing it on the user side, you can change it over here. Substitute method will be ace. I go dynamic and then do not repeat. Then we're going to come over to coaching sliders. Our help defense is going to be at 75. And for the CPU, this is literally the most important part of this set. Make sure you put run plays frequency at 0. I do get a lot of questions about that, and people say like, oh, you know, hey, it's going to cause the CPU to not run plays. That's obviously not the case. As you can see my gameplay, the CPU is going to be running sets and plays all day. It just gives the CPU much more freedom in terms of when they get into their sets, and it gives them more freedom in the fast breaks, so the CPU isn't stopping in the middle of the break to run sets. That is a non-negotiable. It's one of the biggest parts of this slider set. I'll show you guys the camera that I use as well, broadcast 110. I get a lot of questions about that, so that is something. We'll go through. Let's do our coaching settings. We kind of showed it earlier, but you know, just want to make sure you guys can see it all. A lot of this is default, and I think the only other thing that I want to show here is my controller settings. It's a real shooting percentage for everything, so a lot of this stuff doesn't matter, and 90% of this stuff is default. I like call for pick and roll versus fade to be auto. If there's anything else that sticks out, oh, receiver control is huge for me. I love handoff. Passive dribble hand switches is enabled. Shading indicator, I don't like that. Hoota guard, I do like. Box out assist strength, I guess I have it 100. I don't remember changing that, but it is what it is. I don't think it makes too big of a difference. I'm not going to show any of the UI stuff because I use mods on PC, so you won't be able to replicate my settings there anyway, but that's my controller settings. Gameplay settings here, custom. I'd like to turn off camera shake. Action replays and after basket cuts are occasional. I'm gonna test this. I'm gonna turn off the photo strobes. I don't know. I feel like that has some type of performance issue on PC. I don't even know if you can turn that off on console. Here's my audio settings. I heard these are pretty good. I didn't make them myself, but I've heard these are pretty good, so you give them a try. Some people have also said like put the motion blur to like very low, but I usually don't play with motion blur, so that's, you know, personal preference, but some people have said it helps with the visual noise, so I don't know, you can give that a little bit of a shot if you'd like. But yeah, if you look at my video settings, I have the motion blur turned off, but someone told me, they said give it a shot. They said give it a shot and put it at like like really low, like 20 or something like that. So I'll give it a shot and see if I like it. But you know, this is all personal preference. It doesn't have anything to do with the gameplay. This is just going to be like, is this the type of stuff that you like? So that's the settings that I use in game. Guys, if you're ready to experience basketball the way it's meant to be played, these sliders are for you. Check them out and let me know your thoughts. Stay tuned for more content, and as always, thanks for the support. Catch you in the next one. It's your boy Shady Mike. I'm signing out. Peace. Threes.